Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is an excellent start of the day with Brother Anas with regard to a very informative background about what is the media, what constitutes the media message, and how the media works. I'm going to take on from there and try to delve into probably one of the aspects of the day, which is the issue of representation. How the media represent the other, and how the message probably resonates into the construction of public opinion in Western society, or in fact in any society. Certainly there has been an unprecedented developments in terms of the way the media is being working from the technical part of it, and from the way the message is being relayed or mediated to the public. And as mentioned, these unprecedented development with regard to the internet. Many of you who have been probably witnessing and following the aftermath of the elections in Iran, and how Twitter has become an international issue with regard to the way what is going on over there, and the resistance has become an international issue because of the power of the internet, because of the way people manage to bypass the traditional media and use Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of that stuff to basically take the message to you and I, who are unable to see it from first hand in Iran. A very interesting network. There was a kind of small report the other day on the BBC a few weeks ago about how Twitter actually works and how it's been working for the Iranian case. I think it's a very, very interesting case. You can write volumes about it. How this network of people in different parts of the world, they are actually functioning in a way which you can simply say it's a real cybernetic public sphere, if we may call it really a sphere where people can meet up and exchange ideas about a hot issue of their concerns. Now, given that this is the case, and this is how the world is developing with regard to what's happening with the mediation of knowledge, the mediation of the facts on the ground, I'd like to take you back to the fact that traditional media is still very, very important. And this is what I'm going to talk today. I'm going to talk about new media because it's going to be tackled during the day. I'm not going to talk about other aspects of the program because they're going to be tackled on the day. But I'm going to talk about the issue of representation on traditional media in the society. Lots of the people who studied audiences and the construction of public opinion and the role of television after September the 11th, they still argue that television plays a very important role when it comes to major international or national events. This is the fact. After September the 11th, humans were glued in front of their televisions. Yes, the internet was very important, but not as important as the screen in front of me, which does mediate minute by minute the falling of the Twin Towers and people running around all over the place. The same fact happened with the unfortunate bombings of 7/7. And the same happens with the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, the war on Gaza. The same happened with the fall of Baghdad, the war in Iraq. Academics, social scientists argue that television is still crucial. When it comes to major events, people would like to sit in front of television and see the picture live. Young people maybe would like to tell us that the internet is very vital with regard to this. I may agree with them. So this is where I'd like to take you from. And this is where I'd like to lead my discussion to, is the role of television in this country in the mediation of race and raciality, of who we are people, of ethnic minorities. and who we are as Muslims with regard to what the normal people in the street think about us. I'm going to concentrate on the negative, obviously, representation. But I have to mention from the beginning that obviously television has improved a lot from the 80s and the 90s, where racism was really rampant, even on public service broadcasting television. Let alone the rest of the media. I'm not going to talk about the press. There has been a huge improvement with regard to the representation of ethnic minorities. Black people, Somalis, Pakistanis, Indians, and now Muslims and Islam. There is a real improvement. And there are excellent examples there from time to time. But they are very, very little as compared to the general picture of what's going on in the media with regard to the representation of Islam and Muslims, which is my focus of this short presentation. Now, I have to say that there has been a huge amount of work from the academic side, amongst social scientists who studied television and radio and the press with regard to representation of Islam and Muslims. And actually most of the excellent studies, they were not done by Muslims. They were done by qualified Western academics who have no interest in Islam except to study it from an academic point of view and see what actually the media is saying with regard to Islam and Muslims. There are many fair people and just people in the academic world who do excellent job on our behalf. And many of them, we don't know them. I'd like to tell you there are many of them actually. And it's really up to us as Muslims to dig in and find those people and branch up with them. And say thank you to many of them, as we say thank you from time to time if we do to radio stations and television stations when they broadcast a good program. Now, Brother Anas probably will tell you volume with regard to what you must do when the BBC broadcasts a good program. When Channel 4 and other channels give a good documentary with regard to Islam and Muslims. What must we do? I'm going to leave that to my other colleagues to answer, who are proactive in dealing with the media as civil society organizations. But this is what one of the probably most important academic in this country, probably also in the Western world, with regard to the issue of representation. Professor Stuart Hall, originally from Birmingham University, now at the Open University in Milton Keynes, he started off with representation of black people in the 70s and 80s, and then he basically linked that to what it says about the other, with regard to Islam and Muslims. The quotation here is very, very symbolic with regard to what he's saying. That is the focus of the media with regard to representation of black people back to the 60s and back to the 70s until the 80s. Now you and I definitely argue that this has improved a lot. Not only black people are seen as criminals, not only black people are seen as troublemakers. Nowadays I think the scapegoat has become something else. You and I do agree that Islam and Muslims have become the other, the problematic.